Charlie do Bronx Oliveira. Who should the Brazilian fan favorite fight next? I'll give you the answer in this video. Hello and welcome to Bloodsport MMA. Charles Oliveira, as you probably know, lost his last fight against Arman Tsarukyan by a decision at UFC 300. That fight was a title eliminator, which means the winner will most definitely fight for the title, so Arman will now fight for the title.
I'm very educated, motherfucker.
Now we have Charles Oliveira, who's on a win-loss situation, who is in need of a fight, but it gets harder and harder to match him up with his past because Oliveira is that big of a superstar that you can't just match him up against random guys somewhere in the rankings.
Who the fuck is that guy?
And on the other hand, he's coming off a loss, so you can't let him fight for the title, which is what is always the goal, to match him up for the title, because Oliveira is a guy that the UFC would like as a champion because he sells so much, right? So the question now is, who should he fight? And I have two pretty clear answers for you. There are only two options, in my opinion, that make any sense, and those two both make sense for me. And I would like to hear your opinion at the end. Write it in the comments. So, Charles Oliveira, as I said, you can't just match him up against a random dude. You have to find someone that is either high up in the rankings or has a value to his name.
I need to put some respect on my fucking name.
Now, most of those guys he already fought. Michael Chandler fought him. Justin Gaethje fought him. Of course, Islam is a champion, fought him. Like, he fought all those guys.
You're gonna smash everybody.
There is, just to take that away from the beginning, of course, Conor McGregor is always a possibility. But for me, it's just too uncertain what Conor Chandler will look like. If Conor beats Chandler, Conor is definitely not gonna fight Oliveira. Conor's gonna fight for some kind of a title or something. You know what I mean? So let's just take Conor and Chandler both out of the way because they're already matched up in the future and he wants to fight probably somewhere end of summer and not at the end of the year. So let's take them away.
Get the fuck out of here!
Charles Oliveira, whoever he fights next, should be a fight that if he wins that fight, that he can fight for the title. Because same with Dustin Poirier. Dustin Poirier, yeah, he lost against Gaethje, but then won against number 11 ranked, I think, BSD, beat him and got a title shot. So Charles is always one win away from a title shot, especially if he's only coming off one loss, a close decision to a guy like Arman Tsarukyan, right? There is one guy
I got one dude on my mind!
that I would love to see him fight, and that is the guy who beat Gaethje, Max Holloway. Before you go like, what the hell are you talking about? Let me explain. Max Holloway is the BMF champion. There is a belt that Max Holloway has in the lightweight division that everyone wants. Charles Oliveira, of course, you could argue, is he a BMF? But let's be honest here. A BMF in the new way, what a BMF, who fights for the BMF title, in the new kind of era of the BMF title, say like that, it doesn't need to be a real gangster anymore. And Charles Oliveira grew up in the favelas. He grew up in the trenches, in the most gangster place you can grow up in. Nowadays, to fight for the BMF title, first of all, you need to be a fan favorite. Charles Oliveira is a fan favorite. You need to be a finisher. Even though you could say Max Holloway wasn't that much of a finisher before, but Charles Oliveira finishes fights. He has the records for most submissions and whatnot. Like, he is, you can make an argument for him being a BMF. You can make an argument for him fighting for the title. And yeah, he's coming off a loss, but that's what the BMF belt is. It's not a belt that you fight for if you have to be the number one contender for that. You have to be a fan favorite, you have to be a gangster in the cage, and a little bit of a character around you. That's what you need to be. That's all Charles Oliveira is. And as I said, he's not coming off a knockout loss against some random dork. So in my opinion, that's a fight that really makes sense, that I would really love to see. And of course, that fight only happens if Max Holloway doesn't get his crack at Topuria, which is a real possibility. There is a real possibility that
a lot of behind that weight, a lot of punch behind that weight, a lot of weight. I'm talking too fast here.
Volkanovski will get his rematch somewhere in September or whatnot against Ilya, and Max probably doesn't want to wait that long, and he's like, okay, I got my title shot secured at featherweight, why not take a BMF title defense fight if it presents itself? Because I don't think he will get the lightweight title fight because Dustin P-Head is fighting now. After that, it's Arman's turn, so I think that fight actually makes sense. I could actually see that, of course, as I said, if Holloway doesn't get the chance to fight Topuria. The other fight that makes sense that I am not the biggest fan of, but it would not be the biggest selling fight, but it makes a lot of sense, is Mateusz Gamrot. Mateusz Gamrot has been in the top 5 since a long time now. He's on a win. He was the backup for the Charles Oliveira against Islam Makhachev fight in Abu Dhabi, which was kind of weird because then Charles Oliveira pulled out and they didn't call Gamrot, they called Volk, but he was the backup for the fight, so he was in the title picture. So it's pretty clear. Gamrot, if he wins his next fight, fights for the title. If you beat Gamrot in your next fight, you probably fight for the title. So that could be a great title eliminator fight. Stylistically, a great matchup for real MMA fans. I mean, Gamrot is a phenomenal grappler, has decent striking as well. Charles Oliveira, as we know, is so well-rounded and so good on the ground. And it would be kind of a similar fight like Arman against Charles, and that was a pretty fun fight. So I would really love to see. That makes a lot of sense from the rankings. So there is, for me, no argument that this fight doesn't make sense. And I rather see a new fight than see rematches. That's at least me. So either Gamrot or Holloway next for Charlie du Bronx. Write your opinion in the comments, guys. Who do you think is the best matchup? What should Charles do? Who should he fight next? What makes sense? So write it in the comments, guys. Make sure to like this video, subscribe to this channel. I would appreciate that. Check out the Bloodshop merch, www.bloodshop.net, link in bio. Check it out. We're about free shipping with the code FREE. Stay bloody, guys, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye. Bloodsport out.